friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to a vlog, or a reading vlog. I know, we're surprised because at this point in time, while I'm starting this vlog, I still have yet to start the vlog, editing the vlog that I had just finished. But initially this vlog was supposed to be, or the first reading vlog after my Atlas 6 vlog was supposed to be my Dark Vanessa. I was going to read through that. But then Harry released his album. And I had a plan to do like my normal Harry styles, like new album as books or Harry's house as books. But those take me a while to like figure out. And to boot, Taylor Swift re-releasing Red in like November last year. It threw me for a loop into that. I think I did another something as books. So I am out of ideas for things and I need to read more books before I can do this again. So I decided to read some of Harry's favorite books as a reading vlog. I was going to do 3 books, but I looked at the list, or like some lists of the books that he had listed, and I don't know if I'm in the mood or in the headspace to read Murakami or Charles Bukowski. So I just chose 2. I also only chose 2 because Barnes & Noble changed their entire setup. I don't know how long it's been like that, so I just kind of spent the better half of that trip trying to figure out where was what. I also just ended up making my 3rd book my compensation buy. So like I said, Harry's list was just a lot of like, not say smarter than me books, but they're definitely books that you can't just go into and not put a lot of focus power into them. Like, even when I was looking through people's like videos that are like this, where they read some of Harry's books, it seemed like a lot of the I didn't even watch them, I just scrolled it up and looked at the thumbnails. It seemed like a lot of the reactions were very mixed. There was a lot of like, it's questionable taste, like what is this? So I just chose 2 books. One is questionable, you'll see why in a second, but I chose 2 books that I think my brain can read and process fairly well, and they're not terribly thick either. The first one is The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. This is a fictional, like I guess a contemporary, adult contemporary that follows a couple after they get married. I believe the synopsis mentions how most romances kind of end with the couple getting together or getting married. This follows the trials and tribulations of it afterward. It's pretty thin. The pages, the writing is also pretty, or like the font size is also fairly decent. So it seems like a pretty easy read. So I'm kind of leaning toward this one right now, just because it is going to be a little bit easier and hopefully I'll enjoy it. It sounds like it's a little emotional, but we'll see. I mean, I am not married, so I don't know if I will be able to read Marriage Life. But the other book is one that I'm like a little hesitant about, just you'll find out. But that is My Policeman by Bethan Roberts. I think Harry only read this specifically because he's going to be in the movie. But it was like the top choice for all of them, and I guess Harry really loved this book. Okay, this follows Marion and Tom, who kind of meet and fall in love and get married. Now, several years later, Tom ends up meeting a man named Patrick, and Patrick completely becomes besotted with Tom. And the 3 of them decide to have like, I guess like a polygamous or a polyamorous relationship where they both kind of share custody of this man. And it'll follow their romance and their relationship as it inevitably changes and hurts one another because I'm assuming Tom figures out something about himself that he doesn't know. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Bethan Roberts is a woman. I could be wrong. I don't see a picture of them on the back, but it's I'll look it up later. But again, I'm just concerned because it's not only a couple that ends in a throuple or not a throuple, but we do also have some gay rep in here in the 1950s, I believe, written by probably a white woman. I will double check and like let y'all know what I find out. But it does seem to be interesting. I'm not leaning toward this right now, so I think I will end up just starting The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. I still have to finish Ariadne, so might be a couple of days before I actually start this book and give you guys another update. But that will hopefully get me time to work on the vlog that I just finished. So I'll catch up with y'all in I'm assuming a day or 2. I'm almost done with Ariadne. So fingers crossed. I still look crazy hair-wise, but it's fine. Alright, so it's like now 10 o'clock. I did finish Ariadne a couple hours ago. Not the vlog for it, so I won't get into it. So just, if you are interested in that book, wrap up. That's all I could say. So I am going to go ahead and start The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. I like this cover. It's a very cute cover, but I like the cover. I think that you could, it's probably the hardcover, which is like this really blue kind of color. This is like very simple and minimalistic, which is great, but also just boring. But I also just like a busier, like a more decorated, I guess, book. As you guys can tell, a lot of the books I do like to read tend to be more high fantasy and like are a bit more decorated. So I'm just a little bit like, eh. But I will update you all probably tomorrow on my thoughts of what I read so far. I've literally only read the first chapter. The first chapter of the first part. The first part being romanticism, where the main character, I don't know if this was written by a man. So the main protagonist, it seems like, is Rabbi, who is a male. Right now he's on vacation. He's a youngin' who sees this girl named Alice, who is from Europe, and they're all on vacation together, and he basically just romanticizes their like entire life together. Basically what a lot of young girls, adult girls even, like to do when we go to a bookstore or a train station or a bus stop where we're just alone with our thoughts. And then the girl ends up flying away then one day, and he never got the courage to talk to her. And it's like the end of the first chapter. And I'm just gonna read you like this I am already shook at the writing of this, just because it encompasses kind of the concept of just romanticizing a person, of like the idea of a relationship. I'll read the last two paragraphs. The romantic faith must always have existed, but only in the past few centuries has it been judged anything more than an illness. Only recently has the search for a soulmate been allowed to take on a status of something close to the purpose of life. An idealism previously directed at gods and spirits has been rerouted toward human subjects. An ostensibly generous gesture, nevertheless freighted with forbidding and brittle consequences, for it is no simple thing for any human being to honor over a lifetime of perfections he or she might have hinted at to an imaginative observer in the street, the office, or the adjoining airplane seat. It will take Rabbi many years and frequent essays in love to reach a few different conclusions, to recognize that the very things he once considered romantic, wordless intuitions, instantaneous longings, a trust in soulmates, are what stand in the way of learning how to be with someone. He will surmise that love can endure only when one is unfaithful to its beguiling, opening ambitions, and that, for his relationships to work, he will need to give up on feelings that got him into them in the first place. He will need to learn that love is a skill rather than enthusiasm. Oh, this book's gonna make me feel things and question my sanctity of love, or like what I thought was love. And I'm gonna need my therapist, but I'm not seeing my therapist because I don't have insurance anymore for the next 3 months. So it is Sunday. I'm wearing my hairy shirt just for the occasion, which, by the way, I didn't realize how long it was. Like, I feel like I'm back in middle school. Like, what is this length? This is also a small, an extra small. But enough about that. I have had a chance to read more of The Course of Love. I have started to tab it. I do need to go back and tab more because I didn't bring my tabs to church with me. But I love it. I think there are some really profound, not profound, but very like thought-provoking passages in here. My current issue is that you can certainly tell it's written by a man. There's a line here which I'll read to you. It's gonna be, dude also really just enjoys run-on sentences, which is fine because I talk in run-on sentences. But let's see. He's talking about her looks, and it says here, her slightly surprised, quick-witted air, which also inspires him to call her his rat and his mole. Parentheses, which also, because her looks are unconventional, makes him feel clever for finding her attractive. I read that and I just like got the ick. Like, I get it. I don't even know when was this written. 2016. Yeah, again, like, you could it's like a good book. It's interesting. You can tell that like Harry's just a smidge bit pretentious with his choices in books, which may or may not break my heart, because that may or may not mean that he may never pick up one of my novels when they get published. But I can only hope that maybe by then his reading taste will have expanded to include more fantastical elements. You know? I can only hope that maybe someday there's a girlfriend or a very good best friend that maybe will be like, hey, this book looks super cool. I don't know. But there are definitely just instances where you can tell that like it's written by a man, which it just gives me the ick, which thankfully he writes Kirsten, the main love interest, actually pretty well. She's pretty much in depth. She has a huge depth to her character and lots of like growing points for her, to like very complex, you can tell, as a starting point. And I know that Robbie is currently like he's a very romantic man, in the sense that he romanticizes and idealizes everything, so that's possibly also why he has this thought process in here. But it's just like the way that it was said, like I can hear it in a man's voice or a man's thought process that they said with their whole chest, that has been like just like, it's the ick, oh it's the ick, I don't want it, it's the ick. So yeah, but I'm actually gonna go change now because I just started my last load of laundry and I didn't toss in the clothes that I'm currently wearing, so I'm gonna go do that. Okay, it's now Monday. I have read more of the book. I'm on my lunch in my car defrosting because my office is freezing. So thankfully there's a breeze going on, so I'm not like suffocating with heat. But I am reading more of the book, and can I just say, it makes the concept of marriage sound so not like, just makes it sound like if you've spent your entire life romanticizing the concept of romance and marriage, that you are not gonna like it, which makes sense, but like how it's presented is just like, oh, so here's where we are right now. But Robbie is just not that great of a character. Like, he literally gets upset over something her roommate, her like old college buddy said, and then instead of expressing that he was annoyed at what he said, she was like, hey, what's wrong? Like, tell me what's up. He literally says, fuck you, leave me alone. Like, dude. But like I said, it does have its like moments where like some of the writing is just like really beautiful, and it does have a message behind it that I think that everyone can kind of glean from. But I feel like Robbie he's the kind of dude that like romanticized the concept of like love and marriage so much that now that he has it, he doesn't exactly know the kind of work that it takes to be in a marriage, to be in a lifelong commitment. So he just rubs me the wrong way. Kirsten's doing great. She's trying her best, and Robbie is just like, he's rubbing me the wrong way. Another mini update. My nose looks so red because it's just been so cold in that office. Like, it's been rough. But I'm starting to get the hint, the understanding that Mr. Harry Styles, as romantic as he is, might be a bit of a cynic romance. A cynic. Might be a little bit of a cynic. Because like, this book is what the fuck. Like, I don't know if like maybe he at some point had like romanticized a relationship and was like, no. And read this book and was like, okay. But like, compared to his songs, his reading taste so far has just been like very cynical. Very cynical. Also, apologies for the disgusting nail. It's in the process of finally leaving me, and we get to grow a new nail for sticking forever. Yeah, Robbie's just disgusting. It's just... I dislike men. I relate to Robbie. There's a line here that basically told him like that you don't speak up, you don't talk about your feelings, and then talked about how his mom was soft and loved him, but only loved him in a certain way, and he grew to believe that love was a reward for being good, for not being transparent. Man, I hate it here. I'm gonna go back to work. I'm gonna go back to work. I will never forgive TikTok for adding 3-minute videos, because then they can share the entire performance of Matilda and I could just cry. Oh. Oh, I hate it here. Alright, it is now Tuesday. It's lunchtime, in the car, reading. I am about this much of the way through the book, so I should be finishing it tonight. I'm just hesitant to continue reading because this part of the book is called adultery. So, yeah. I finished the book. I don't know what to rate it. If I'm being completely honest with y'all, I do not know what to rate it. Like, there are some really good things about this book. I like that it discusses kind of the trials of marriage and how it's very much romanticized and idealized. And we don't really sit there and stop to think about all the work that goes into a marriage, all the communication that you need to do to have a successful marriage, and all the concept of that you're always choosing your partner. It just doesn't stop when you guys tie the knot. You just keep choosing them over and over again. And I really like that. That being said, I really hated Robbie toward the end. I felt like he did suffer from a lot of man syndrome of like being like he felt like, oh yeah, he is so clever for finding the unconventionally attractive girl attractive, and then proceeding to not communicate his feelings, not want to communicate his feelings, or understand where Kirsten comes from, and then he proceeds to cheat on her with someone, and I don't think it is ever brought up. He says that he's never gonna outright bring up why he cheated on Kirsten. He would rather just understand why it happened. And I'm just like, but you know, it's all good because they went to therapy and he figured out why he cheated on her without ever telling her that he cheated on her. So that was just really icky. Like, that entire section of like adultery was just, I was crawling out of my skin and I was like skimming because I was just like, I can't do this. How dare you make me do this? How dare you make me read this? She deserves better. Like, I just wanted it to be like, this is like, I just wanted her to find out so badly because I was like, this isn't fair to her. This is not fair to her. Right now, I'm leaning toward like a 4. Like I said, I did enjoy the book. It is really enthralling. But that bit, I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? I will say this though, I think Harry is a little bit of a cynical, romantic. Like, he seems to be very romantic as we have seen in his songs and just how he talks and everything and acts, but I feel like he's just very cynical when it comes to the concept of love and romance, and like this definitely is an example of that. Like, you can really just see, like, something about it just tells me that Harry has been through the ringer with his relationships thus far, and that he didn't fully understand the concept of having to choose someone after you've chosen them, and that he might have been a little bit of Robbie in the past where he's romanticized this concept of a relationship, of this love, but I don't know. Yeah. I liked the book, I enjoyed it, but I am questioning Harry's tastes. With that being said, I am going to pick up My Policeman by Bethan Roberts soon. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he only read this because he is currently, he is in this movie. He will be in this movie. I think it's in post-production now. So Yes, but I will keep you guys updated on my thoughts so far of this book. Right now, I'm gonna go play Stardew Valley with my boyfriend and his sisters. I want to eat some Cheetos and some Skol bread that my sister made that she found a recipe on for the bread that they have at Epcot. We're going to be in videos a lot more, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just the box inside the box.
Probably to make sure it doesn't jiggle around and hurt itself. Jiggle, jiggle.
I hate that sound so
It
much.
folds.
I
I like to
that
see you
sound
wiggle, wiggle.
so much. I hate it so much.
Finally, a bit of an update on the book. It is a bit of a slower read. It's not quickly as intriguing, I guess, as not intriguing, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Engaging as The Course of Love. It's just a bit slower. It's setting up the pace. I finally reached part 2. And I guess it does switch point of views. Part 2 right now we are learning how Tom and Patrick met, whereas with part 1 we learned how Tom and Marion ended up their kind of part of the story and how that happened. I did not know that it switched. It didn't tell me that it switched. I just had to figure it out as the first chapter progressed. It was very confusing. I was not a fan. But so far it's intriguing. I can't tell if Tom has genuine feelings for Marion, or if he's still confused, or if he's using her as a beard. So I will keep y'all updated. Alrighty, it is now Sunday. It's been a pretty jam-packed weekend. I spent 8 hours at the hairstylist getting my hair did. I'm sure you guys can tell already, but let me just, something stuck. I look very Mary Jane right now. It's fine. But it's a fun update because I'm at my boyfriend's before he moves in today. We just propped it up a little bit. But because I was there for 8 hours yesterday, I did get through most of the book. Yeah. So it got a lot better once we moved past Patrick's part and just kind of got to see more of the relationship that was building and what the dynamics are. Got a lot better. I'm trying not to put a super like what do you call it, modern lens on how I'm reading the book, mainly because it is set in like the late 50s and then in the flash forwards I'm assuming late 80s, I want to say, maybe pushing that timeline, but it's a little sad. It seems like Tom doesn't really know who he is, and as he's figuring it out, he doesn't quite know how to verbalize these things to his now wife. And not to say that he's like dragging her along, but it's just a little sad that it seems like Marion is so enamored and so in love with him that she refuses to see the very obvious signs that Tom is gay, or at least bi. And Tom, being in this society that tolerates gay people, in a world that kind of tolerates it and it's still not in the best way of tolerating it. He doesn't know what to do with it, and then Patrick is someone who has found ways to move around this not so forgiving world in the best way he can. But yeah, it's just very sad. I don't really know how to feel about Tom. I'm not gonna lie. I understand him. I get where he's coming from. I get the struggle. But again, it's not so much a modern lens as it is more of an empathetic one. I don't feel it's fair for him to at least continue to drag Marion through the mud, to treat her like she doesn't have feelings about the fact that her husband is gone out late at nights. And then in the flash forwards, he's even more in pain because something happens to Patrick, and Patrick is no longer able to be, I guess, an autonomous being. He relies pretty much on Marion for a lot of things, and Thomas, again, Tom not being able to really process it, distances himself from both Marion and Patrick, which I think is really rough considering there's a lot of history between them. So I'm kind of dreading to see what happens, but I'll keep y'all updated. I probably won't be able to update y'all until tomorrow, because again, helping boyfriend move into my apartment, and then the whole rearranging and configuring out how we're gonna, like, I know how we're gonna fit, but it's just gonna be a lot of like, we gotta move this in, we gotta take that out, we gotta move this around, we gotta put this in, take that out, move this over. So it's just gonna be a lot of shuffling today. I need Starbucks. I need coffee, or at least tea. Some cold brewed tea would be good. Yeah. But I'll keep you guys posted. I'm sure I'm probably gonna finish the book either tonight or early tomorrow, depending. So let's just hear the commotion for the hair. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's the fact that she spent 6 to 8 hours on a chair on Saturday. Oh, I'm obsessed with it. I am. It gives me Starfire vibes. It low-key gives me Scarlet Witch vibes, Poison Ivy vibes, Anna vibes, even in yellow lighting. It looks a lot browner, but okay, there we go. Okay, so while my pan is heating up, I'm about to cook dinner before my boyfriend gets home for the both of us before we go to a movie. But I finished the book last night. Did not get a chance to do a lot of vlogging, or if anything. Saturday, it was all this. And then Sunday, it was my boyfriend moving, and then Sunday, Monday was unpacking and then hanging out with family. So very busy, very busy. I finished the book last night. I give it about a 4 out of 5 stars. I feel like I did enjoy the book, and it was an interesting read. It's technically based off of the true story between a novelist, E.M. Forster, that he had with the policeman Bob Buckingham and his wife May. And I don't know, I just feel like in terms of this being about a thwarted love, of being a forbidden romance in a sense, there wasn't much chemistry between Tom and Patrick. Tom was just flat. He was flat the entire way through, even when things got hard. I didn't sense much from him. I hated hearing about Tom, if I'm being completely honest with y'all. I mean, it was okay. I think actually, no, I gave it a 3.75. It was enjoyable. I read through it just fine. But yeah. As for Harry's taste, I'm gonna give him a slight pass on this one, mainly because he read this for a role. It wasn't his preferred pick, but so far from what I'm seeing of the books that he has enjoyed, because he doesn't have to enjoy the books that he reads for roles, but clearly he enjoyed this one. So what I'm gathering from this little motion here, these books, is that he is a very cynical reader. He's a bit of a romantic, but he's very cynical when it comes to his romance. Very cynical. I don't know if that'll change, considering Harry's House is a bit more of an upbeat, a very lovey-dovey romance kind of vibe. But he's just very cynical, and I don't know how to feel about it. I think I need to read more of his books to be able to fully understand, the books that he's recommended, to be able to fully understand the psyche of Harry Styles' mind. But I might make this into a series, who knows? But that is it for this video of me reading 2 out of like the 15 books I think that Harry's recommended. If you guys want me to make this into a series where I read more of Harry's recommendations, or maybe a favorite celebrity of yours books that they've recommended, let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more content from me, y'all know to subscribe, to like, and to comment. And until next time, I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye!